Welcome to the Instant Payments Podcast. I'm your host, Tal Clark, CEO of Instant Financial, and we're back for part two of our conversation with Britt Landrum, the CEO of Landrum Inc., a leading staffing and PEO service that serves thousands of clients with over 12,000 worksite employees. Britt, thanks again for being a guest on the show. Let's jump right back in and talk more about trends in the HR and staffing industry. So we left off the last podcast talking a little bit about AI, and were you seeing much of an impact there in regards to your staffing levels and what you see? And it sounds like you're optimistic about the role that AI will play, and continue to be optimistic about the business. So no anticipated sort of negative staffing impacts going forward for the roles that you're placing.
Right. Correct. Absolutely. To give you a little insight there, Tal, we already utilize AI in terms of our initial recruiting outreach, and folks actually prefer it. We call our AI Abby for our staffing unit, and Abby will reach out and call people, and the first thing she says is, "I'm an automated, attendant here or robot." Just so you know up front, if you'd like to continue, please press. I don't know what she says exactly, but something like that. Abby she gets better feedback. She gets better ratings than humans do.
Oh, wow.
And she's more productive than humans are.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. In other words, we're able to find more people, more jobs, that impact their lives, of course, utilizing AI. So that's one of the tools that we're using internally that I'm just very proud of.
Okay. Well, super. And then we talked a little bit about early on your views on earned wage access and some of the things we're doing there. You guys also have experience with payroll cards with us. What goes into evaluating these kinds of tools from both a worker impact and business ROI perspective is we start talking a little bit about, the impact on employees and their financial wellness and those things. As you evaluate these type solutions and others, what are you looking at from a worker impact and a business ROI perspective?
Yeah, I mean, so it's got to be a win-win, right? It's got to be a win for the employees and a win for win for our clients and a win for us.
Absolutely.
For the employees, like we talked about before, it gives them, more peace with their lives. They're able to manage their information and their wages in a much more rapid manner. It also streamlines payroll. It improves retention of employees for our clients. It improves their retention, improves the happiness of their team. So that's going to increase retention. But also too, it streamlines the payroll process when you're not having to deal with paper. I mean, my gosh, I think about all the warehouses of paper that we have dealt with over the years. It is so nice to have all that information, digitally and on a card and secure, of course. So
Super.
Great.
Super. That's good. Hey, one thing I didn't ask you when we were talking about your business in the last podcast, and just for clarity for everyone listening, what industries do you guys serve at Landrum? Just for some perspective there.
It's across the board. Our top three industries are business services, small banks and credit unions. Of course, hospitality is in there due to our region. I mean, we're connected with several private equity firms that have retail spaces. We're in staffing. We're really heavily connected with a light industrial space. We're able to reduce costs for a lot of large manufacturers based upon our method of controlling costs with their employees in different departments and things. That's really big. In our executive recruiting, we focus primarily on HR and marketing positions. So a lot of CHRO or VP of HR type positions. Okay. And that's really all over the country. We're heavily focused in the Southeast, but I mean, we've got lots of business in San Francisco, where that community is actually doing pretty well now. For a while, it was not during COVID and what have you, but it's doing a lot better with the advent of AI and new technologies there. It's just like regrowing. So
Wow. Well, that's good. And I didn't know that. So, and I was going to ask you that question. You are regionally, you do a lot of work in Florida in the Southeast, I believe. How did you get the footprint in San Francisco market?
Well, that was through an acquisition
Okay.
that we did right before COVID.
Yeah.
Funny how those timing things work. You
Yeah.
learn a lot of things, man. You learn from the school of hard knocks a lot. At least I have, and I've made a lot of mistakes. Not knowing COVID was coming, of course,
Yeah.
but that acquisition really, it was great for us. It got us into it opened up a lot of doors for us. Opened up to a new world, and got us into some new markets in the Midwest and Texas and San Francisco area. So it was good.
Wow, that's great. That's quite a footprint. And then the other thing too, I remember from the last time we visited is you guys were putting an office in Greenville, Spartanburg. Is that still the case?
Yes, correct. Yeah, and man, we've so our grand opening is in December. It's in a couple weeks, and we just love that community. We've already we've had clients there for years. Prior to COVID, we had offices in Asheville, North Carolina, and Columbia, South Carolina. Closed us down during COVID, the midst of the unknown. But we've wanted to be in Greenville for 20 plus years. For one reason or another, it hasn't worked out. Finally, my president, Kara Bloomberg, and CFO, Jonathan Taylor, convinced me, let's just do it. So we opened an office downtown, and I'm so excited to be in that area. They are so welcoming there. They are, it's the most welcoming community I've ever been a part of or ever experienced. They're excited for us to be there, excited to help us get plugged in. Kara's already keynoted 2 or 3 conferences there.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's amazing. And we have some great clients there. I've got some great peers there, got some friends there, and I'm just so excited to be in that community. It's so alive. It's really an economic center surprisingly in the South. Lots going on there.
Well, that's good. And I've been up there a few times. We actually have Denny's as a client of ours, and
Okay.
they're based up in that Greenville, Spartanburg area
Did
as
you
well.
know? So I heard a story. Did you know that? Of course, Kara loves this because she's a Gator. Did you know that allegedly AI the idea started at a Denny's in Gainesville?
No way.
Yeah,
I don't know that I would. Maybe I would question that though, Brett.
right. Yeah, I know. But I
Uh,
just that's anyhow remarkable.
Especially that's one thing we've got in common is you've got a son at Georgia and I got a son that finished at Georgia, so we would have to
Well, he
question.
graduated. He's actually a Duke now.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. He
Oh,
graduated.
congratulations. Yeah, maybe you had told me that. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But with that Georgia background in our family, we might have to
Yep.
question the fact that AI was founded by a Gator or somewhere
Right. That's exactly right.
in
Tal.
Denny's.
That's
So,
right.
good. Look, I think that you guys have a great footpath in business, but one of the things that I've been just getting to know you and impressed by is your multi-talented skills, and I'm envious of one of them. I'm envious in the ability to play music. I'm not so envious in the ability to run triathlons, but I do admire you for both of that. So talk about. I mean, just let's start with one I view as easiest. Let's start with musical talent and sort of where that came from and how you pursued that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Y- y- it's interesting how that started. So my father, being the entrepreneur he was, and I mean, my father worked, very long hours all the time. A lot was on his shoulders, whereas I get the privilege of sharing a lot of the weight with my executive team. At that time, a lot was on his shoulders. So, my mom, I learned this later. You learn things later. My mom pushed him to do this. I didn't know this. For us to take guitar lessons together at night.
Okay.
Elementary school was offering it. So I would go to baseball practice and then have to go to guitar lessons with my dad. And I remember we had Roy Clark's Big Note Guitar Songbook. I didn't know who Roy Clark was at the time, but
Wow.
anyhow, it was fun. It was a community thing, and it was difficult. And we were playing nylon string guitars. Later on, I was a classical guitar major in college for a short while. So, but this was not the same. This was, we were strumming nylon string guitars, kind of like Willie Nelson does. And it was really difficult and didn't enjoy it too much. But then later on, a couple years later, I was in middle school band. I played trumpet, and we were doing the theme from Rocky. And my band director said, we've got this guitar chart. Can anybody play it? And I was like, Actually, I can. And, so, anyhow, ended up doing that. Well, that same night, I don't even know my parents know this. That same night, I got my first kiss from a girl.
Oh, wow.
Because that was,
Right.
very impressive, right? Or allegedly. And, so I was like, I kinda like this,
Yeah.
So then in high school, I was one of those crazy kids that played 3 sports at a time as a kid. And, in high school, so I played football and basketball in high school, and I was in jazz band. It was always this
Yeah, it's busy.
I always have done too much stuff, Tal.
There you go. Me too.
Juggling my schedule has always been a challenge, but anyways, I got in this local teen band. We were called Velvet Melon, and, we actually became pretty big here locally. Later on, they ended up going to New York. I ended up going to college, but that's when I caught the bug. We were playing the teen dance clubs, and, we weren't all that great. I can speak for myself, but really that's where I caught the bug, and, I ended up getting a small, very small choral scholarship in college and sang in choir in high school and college. And of course, church, this whole time I'm playing in churches
Yeah.
and things. And, then in college, I played in a band. We traveled around, played our own music and, for not getting paid and, um, not much happened there. But then I got in this duo with this other lady and, things started happening. It was in Atlanta. I was just telling somebody I graduated from Oglethorpe University in Atlanta and, acoustic music was huge in Atlanta at the time. And, some things started really happening. Well, I won't get into the details as to why we ended that, but it was amicable. But I wanted to let me tie it back to the company. I
Yeah.
wanted to learn. I was very curious what our company was. I didn't understand it. Even though I worked at a payroll company in Atlanta at the time, I didn't understand what Landrum did. I didn't understand what our company did. So I moved back home to Pensacola. The plan was just for a year or so I could get an understanding. And of course, my dad instantly put me in sales, and I had this shtick where I actually became pretty good at it. I could identify needs, and then bring in my father to help close the deal, or an HR rep to help close the deal, or if it was a higher risk business, a safety engineer to help close the deal. And turned out I actually like that, and I like the stability of belonging to a company, versus, music. I was staying busy and I was paying rent and all that in Atlanta. I was playing in Buckhead a lot by myself. But it wasn't intellectually challenging maybe enough.
Okay.
Anyways, all that to say, fast forward today, I play too much music. And I love it, of course, but it's my second job. I mean, I play a lot by myself. I play with a band. I'm a worship leader at our church. I love to connect with people. I think there is some continuity there with, what I enjoy professionally with what I enjoy musically. I don't enjoy playing for nobody. That is a big
Yeah.
drain.
Yep. Yep.
That's a huge drain.
If you're playing at a location and nobody shows up, that's not any fun.
That's not fun. I did that a lot in my 20s. That was not fun. But yeah, I mean, I do love it. It's definitely a release for me, and and thank God I have a wife that is supporting and loves all my.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so where can everybody see you playing this weekend on Pensacola Beach? Are you playing in the area this weekend?
I'm a play on the Bar Beach this weekend. Yeah, and then of course in church our church does meet on Pensacola Beach at
Yep.
Crabs on Wednesday.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
cool. All right, well, good. That's great. And so then for the more painful hobby of yours, in my view, is the triathlon experience. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me. And you know what? Just living on the beach, there's a crazy triathlon community around here. You see them every Sunday morning out there,
Wow.
I think practicing and doing things. And I know my son Pace actually helped you with your swim at one
He
point.
did. He
So,
did. Awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic.
So
Incredible.
talk a little bit about, I mean, just how did you get there? How did you get into, because I think that's a question everybody has, and we're
Yeah.
certainly not on the
Yeah.
business topic, but I think that it goes to leadership and it goes to commitment and all those things. How did you get there? How did you get to the point of saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go do triathlons," and what keeps you in it today?
Interesting question. I think, first of all, riding a bike reminds me of my childhood. I love to ride a bike. It's much different riding competitively than, of course, casually running. But I just love it. It totally
Mhm.
takes me back. So I love that. Swimming, I grew up here, everybody body surfed or what have you. So that's been a huge part of my life. And then running, I just took up, um, you know, uh, a while ago. Of course, every sports activity you do, you're running somehow. So anyways, so I got into triathlons a little bit, and Kara, our president, told me, she's like, pretty soon you're gonna be doing Ironmans. I said, no way am I gonna do that. That is the craziest thing. Those people, there's no way. Like, I enjoy it, but and sure enough, during COVID, a lot of my friends were turning to the bottle, and other things, and I wanted a healthy outlet. It was so incredibly frustrating
Yeah.
for everybody. I know everybody understands that. And as a business owner and leader, I was so frustrated. We had just, I said earlier, done that transaction. We were getting some traction. Actually, we grew a lot during COVID. And, but then again, I couldn't see my peers, and
Yeah.
we're all working in our own spaces. And it was incredibly frustrating. So I just, I started exercising more and got more into it. And then realized, it keeps me going. I need that level of activity every day to regulate, you know, my mood, to regulate, my thinking, to clear my mind, and to kind of juggle all the balls. It sounds crazy, but more time I spend exercising, the better I'm able to juggle all the different facets of my life, work included. So I want to bring my best self, to the job every day, and that really just helps me do it.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I work out most every day as well. I think there's a big
Yeah.
leap from that though to completing an Ironman. So, because you have completed an Ironman, right?
I've actually done 6. Yeah, I've done 6 fulls and 6 halves.
Oh
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
which one stands out? And I mean, have you been to Hawaii or any of that kind of stuff? No?
I'm not that good. I'm not that fast, unfortunately.
Yep.
I still have, I wish I could I wish I had your body, Tal. If I had your body, I would be a lot faster.
Okay.
But, no, my favorite by far is Wisconsin. I just did that, a couple months ago because I love riding a bike. Um, the hills, of Wisconsin, Madison is just beautiful. And so, yeah, that was just a wonderful experience, for me. A lot of people, it's the opposite. They want flat, I want it hilly. I want to go up and down as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah. Oh
So
no.
that was great. We're fortunate enough here. We've got, events in Panama City locally. There's a new one in Jacksonville I'm doing in May. So excited about that as well. But my favorite full's Wisconsin. My favorite half was in Louisville. I did a couple years ago. Same kind of thing. Lots of hills. Great community. Madison's a great community. Very, very supportive. It's just a great event. You can't. Ironman events are definitely unique. I mean, it's definitely a melding of community and the overall experience rather than just, a race. So
Yeah. Okay.
cool.
Well, that's good. And you sort of channeled some of your fitness and exercise routine into an event you guys sponsor here in town, which is
Yeah.
cool as well. And talk about that. I think we had
Cool.
actually a few people participated in it. Just a couple of weekends ago, right in October, I
It
believe.
was October. It was. Yeah. I mean, so one of the things I rarely do I get on a platform and preach about anything, but one of the
Yeah.
things I'm a big proponent of is the integration of physical health and mental health. I mean,
Yep.
I've seen affect so many people in large and small ways. Again, you can go the other direction and turn to some things that aren't so good for you, but man, you just can't beat when somebody is physically healthy. 9 times out of 10, they're mentally healthy as well, or at least it helps.
Yeah.
And so just watching, the transformation of some of my friends and my family, exercising and being more functional every day is just very impactful. So it's just my small way of trying to bring awareness for the intersection of those two things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great. And that's a little bit of advice, I think, for leaders in business out there. I mean, so if you had one piece of advice for HR leaders or business leaders today, associated with, staffing of their people and hiring and managing other people and providing benefits for their people, what would it be?
Man, be adaptable. I think today you have to be willing to pivot rapidly. Obviously, you've got to have a sense of direction, know where you're going. But I think change. Everybody has to be open to change because our industry and our world. Let's face it, our world is changing so rapidly. You've got to be able to listen to your clients, what their needs are. Listen to your employees, what their needs are, um, and 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 be willing and courageous enough
Yeah.
to change. I've got so many of my peers who have gone the other direction. And you mentioned, many of them have sold out. Many of them are forced to sell because they've been taught one way to do things and they just don't know how to change. And it's kind of a sad thing, but it's the evolution of life and of business. And you've got to be willing to take some risks that you were in the past. I'll give you one that we took that, it's not my favorite thing, but remote work is a huge part of all of our lives now.
Yeah.
I get my energy, as you might could tell, from being around other people. And I love being around other people. I love talking about what's going on. But I do realize that the world has changed. We picked up a lot of great employees. This would have never happened in the past. But because of remote work, there's some advantages. We picked up a lot of great employees around the country that worked for companies that weren't as flexible as we are. And I'm very fortunate in that regard. We've got it, like, again, I just can't brag enough on our team, but going back to the question, be flexible, and communicate why you're having to be flexible and why you're having to be open to change. Also, too, I think everybody's got to be creative in this time. I mean, you've got to be able to offer your own slant as to why you're unique. I mean, a good friend of mine that was former CEO of our national association, he says, if you've met one PEO, you've met one PEO, which is true. We're
Yeah.
all different, as well as our staffing. We provide through our industrial workforce management, we provide a little different slant than most other staffing companies do. You got to figure that out for yourself and do things in a unique way that's valuable for clients.
Yeah, I think all that's great advice. So this has been great, Britt. Let's end with a round of a few rapid fire questions
Sure.
in one sentence. Just a few. Tell me what you think about the following topics.
Sure.
What is one book or podcast that you would recommend listening to or reading?
I'm a huge Patrick Lencioni fan. Five Dysfunctions of a Team. I mean, it's a little dated at this point, but I think anybody who reads it will find the characters in that story. You work right alongside with them, and there's so many life lessons to learn in there, as well as lessons for business. One of my favorite podcasts is Andy Stanley. I love listening to Andy Stanley. I mean, he's a religious leader, but he's so good at he operates a large organization and enterprise now, and so many great business lessons as well.
Yeah, I've actually been. He's up in Alpharetta, right? I've been to his church one time. So you're right. Great point there. So let's back up a little bit. What musical instruments do you play? We talked about it, but not exactly what instruments do you play?
So love to sing. Again, that's probably my favorite thing. I've done that, forever. Play guitar forever. All genres. I do play piano a little bit. Over the years I've been, especially now in church, you're kind of forced to get to be skilled at that as well. So probably that's the main three ones, I'd say.
That's outstanding. All right, last, what professionally speaking are you most excited about for Landrum in 2026?
Just seeing how all this unfolds with AI and automation, and I think there'll be a lot of predictive analytics at work. I think we'll be able to sometime in the near future, be able to recommend via AI, be able to recommend personalized benefits for employees, be able to recommend scheduling for clients. For example, I really look forward to how AI is going to be a helpful tool in that regard and helping us all in the workplace and operate more efficiently.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Britt, thank you for joining us on the Instant Payments Podcast. Your legacy in this industry and your insights into the future make you such a valuable voice in this conversation. To our listeners, you can learn more about Britt's work at landruminc.com and follow along with the new podcast episodes at instant.co/podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Britt, thank you again, and thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in to the Instant Payments Podcast.